Hi Andy, I wondered if you would be interested in this resource. It's something that will take any of your sermon videos and give you some options for repurposing the content of the sermon. So just by way of example, I'm going to use this one here from last Sunday. So I'm just copying the URL from the top of the address field up there. I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Now I've got the latest version of ChatGPT. It is a paid version. But I'm not going to use it directly. I'm going to go to the GPT section, which is a set of, if you're not familiar with it, it's a set of other apps of various types which use the ChatGPT engine and do some specific things. What I want to look for is a YouTube summarizer. Just typing in YouTube there, hitting return, it's going away to try and, oops, now that's interesting, no results found, that's no good. So this is what I expected to find, YouTube summary. And I'll click Start Chat, and then I'm just pasting that URL into the chat box. So without any other commands, this is going to attempt to create a summary in the first instance. So conclusion, and then some key points, and ends up with a summary which has nice headings and a brief description of each point. So you can see it's working pretty fast. Now this is effectively working off a transcription of the video that it has created. You can't see the transcription as such, but that's there. You could also do translations, but one of the interesting things here is not just the summary, which you can take out and put into a Google Doc and publish or send around the world as you wish. But there's a number of other resources that you can generate, not just from the summary, but in fact from the video transcription that it now has in its memory at the moment. It's only there for this current session, I believe. But let's see. Let me just first of all type in E. These are just command. That's what it does. So type in an E, and it gives us an expanded summary. I'm sure you'll recognize the content that is being summarized there. So you can see it's just a slightly longer version, written in sort of sentences and paragraphs there. Which might be useful. The other very useful thing is to create an article from your sermon. So just an A, and type A for article, hit return. Thinks a little bit, and then away we go. So what you get is something that can be directly readable, or indeed you would have the option to have it read back to you audibly directly within this particular tool. Or again, it could be copied and pasted out for publication elsewhere, in a blog, for example, or made available as a series of articles following the series of sermons. What else can it do? Create a diagram. Let's see what D gives us. You need to confirm that yes, go ahead and do that. Oh, I come up with an error. Hopefully it'll try it again. So it's going to attempt to render that more attractively, but that's presumably basically what we'll get in the diagram. Let's see what it's doing. There we've got something. Yeah, okay, so it's laid out as a kind of mind map or a process map or format, and you can download the diagram. And there's some more information there as well. So I'm just going to work very quickly, if I can, go back and find what these commands were. We've seen the expanded summary, the article, and the diagram. So what about extract quotes? Well, this is a Q, and this seems to work through the transcription and pull out, on some basis, not clear what the basis is, a whole series of quotations from the sermon that you've delivered, as recorded in the video, of course. Gives you a timestamp in seconds, and then the quotation. Not quite sure what you would do with that, unless somebody wanted to use that to quote or to give examples of the sort of thing that you were saying in the sermon without going into a huge amount of detail. Now, conveniently, at the end of this, it's given us a reminder of the commands here again, so we could create a table. That's basically an index. And this may or may not come with timestamps. Let's just see. It didn't. But as with ChatGPT in general, you can have a conversation with this as well as just typing in these commands and tell it exactly what you want to do. So it didn't actually format this with timestamps, so you can't use it. I couldn't use that directly as an index for the video. But if I said T and just type with timestamps, then let's see what it does. And there, we're going to get another column added in there, which gives us the time, presumably in seconds, where these topics can be found. Yep. And it's just going to work through the transcription of the video, doing that in each case. I haven't tried to validate the timestamps or whatever it is, but that looks pretty useful. And finally, it can generate flashcards. So let's just type F. This would be a kind of reinforcement tool for either recapping on the sermon or even perhaps following it. Not sure how practical it is. You'd have to have folks in the sermon, if it was live in church. You'd have to have folks using these on a tablet or something. Or probably a phone would work, although it might be a little bit small screened. Now this wasn't quite what I expected. This is interesting. Not what I've seen previously for flashcards. Flashcards list, all right. So it tells us what the flashcards are, but so you could stick that up on the screen and then have folks scan that on their phones, or click here to see the flash. So there's the first of 20. In this case, it's created 20 flashcards, and it's a fill in the blanks type of thing. So the sermon was delivered on 19th of May, I presume, and focuses on Genesis 18, exploring Abraham's faith. Yes, that's indeed nothing very insightful there. Some blank features Abraham welcoming 3 visitors. So I'm not sure what blank is. Okay, Genesis 18. The previous examples I've seen of these flashcards are a little bit more insightful than this. An example of faith in action, perhaps. I don't know. Oh, that's exactly what it is. And so on and so forth. So I won't continue wading through that. But you get the idea. Now that's been created in a new tab here, by the way. So to get back to where we were, I just could close that tab and select the previous tab. So these are the whole variety of additional resources that repurposes the sermon as delivered and recorded on the video. One of the immediate applications that I would suggest we consider as a church would be to add at least a summary, if not the article version, to the description of the video. The impact of that would be to make the video as a resource much more searchable, or much more easily found in Google searches. YouTube, as you know, is owned by Google, So the place to do this is in YouTube. It's not so significant on the likes of Facebook, because Facebook is generally the search functionality in Facebook is nothing like as effective as Google's search capability. But at the moment, unless you were searching on the actual title, which actually doesn't really tell us anything very much apart from the passage that's been dealt with, but adding, say, the summary, which is what I would recommend, that would be added to the description here, would make this much more accessible potentially to people who are searching for the passage, the topics, the characters dealt with in the passage, and so on, and widen your audience reach substantially. Of course, the other thing to suggest would be actually creating a blog, which you would use, on which you would publish the articles, perhaps along with a link to the videos, and use that also as a resource or as another way to promote the videos themselves, which ultimately, of course, is also promoting the church and the resources of the church to a wider audience. So if you have already come across all of this, then obviously sorry for wasting your time. I guess you probably wouldn't have gone through it, but I found it interesting. I've used it for a couple of things business-wise so far, and this is an interesting application for expanding the use of content which we're generating regularly, twice on a Sunday, publishing regularly, and then you can very quickly derive additional versions of the same content that can be used elsewhere. Bye for now.